Habertürk'ten herkese merhabalar. Ben İrem Kuşoğlu Görgü. Yanımda ise konuğumuz Dünya Bankası Türkiye Ülke Direktörü Humberto López var. Kendisiyle Türkiye ekonomisini, enerji proje ve yatırımlarını ve Dünya Bankası ile işbirliklerini konuşacağız. Thank you so much for joining us today. So I would like to start with the 2025 budget proposal of Turkey. According to summary of the Ministry of Energy and Natural Resources, aims to increase the share of renewable energy in electricity production of 47% next year. So what do you think about the potential impacts of this goal on energy costs in the short and long term?
No, thank you very much for having me. When you look at the transformation in the energy sector that the Ministry of Energy is proposing for Turkey, where we see a combination of positive factors. On the one hand, we know that from here to 2035, Turkey will need to increase the amount of energy by 100 gigawatts. This is 67% more than what we have today. So whatever we are doing to enhance and to increase this energy, installed energy capacity is going to be positive. The second element is that today, when we look at the cost of energy, investment, capacity, and also the cost of generation, renewables are cheaper than fossil fuels. And this is clearly important. Today, the cost of solar or wind is around 5 cents per kilowatt hour. This is very similar to what we have in coal, for example, but the cost of installing 1 giga of solar or wind is cheaper than coal. The third element I think that is important is security, energy security and macroeconomic security. To the extent that you are moving toward renewable, you are going not to need import fossil fuels from other countries. This is energy security, but on top of that, you will not have to use your dollars to buy the oil or the coal that you are going to use. And finally, in this particular context, I will say also that as we are developing the renewables, we are going to be developing the industry. So movements in this direction, I think that they are extremely positive. And again, it's not only in one dimension, it's on several dimensions. Clearly, there is the climate change dimension as well. All these movements are going to take us towards net zero by 2053.
Turkey's wind energy industry is projected to reach the size of $7.5 and $8 billion by 2035. So offshore wind energy projects are playing a critical role to achieving this goal. So what financing opportunities does the World Bank offer or plan to help Turkey in these projects?
I mean, when you look at the plan of the government at this moment, what it requires is on generation capacity, and this is private sector money, $80 billion. On transmission from here to 2035, we will require around $28 billion, and this could be a combination of public sector money, transmission in Turkey is public sector activity, and some private sector money if we can develop some PPP of other vehicles to finance that. Finally, you have the distribution capacity. On the whole, we are talking about a plan that is going to be $110 billion. The World Bank is already working with the government. This fiscal year, before the June 2025, we will have taken to our board an operation that is $750 million. The idea of that is to start building the transmission lines that will enhance the capacity of the private sector to come with generation. We know that one of the bottlenecks for renewable generation is the ability of having the transmission lines, and we are moving in that direction. This will be followed by another operation of $750 million in a couple of years, and we are already in conversations with the government to see what other vehicles we can develop to finance these activities.
And what are the biggest challenges faced by developing countries like Turkey and line? And what with climate change and sustainable development goals, and what kind of policies is the World Bank developing to support these countries?
When you look at climate change these days, it's obvious that the needs are enormous, both on the climate change and mitigation side, but also on the climate change adaptation. We are seeing that last year was the warmest year on record, and this has significant implications across economic activities. Temperatures, rainfall, In the case of Turkey, this is a country that is already water stressed, and clearly there will be a need to address this thing. You start looking at the needs that you are going to be needing as a country to address all these elements, and they add up very easily to around $1 trillion. This is about 100% of GDP. Their need for resources to address these challenges is critical.
And what are the World Bank's projections for Turkey's economic growth, and what sectors do you think will play leading role in Turkey's economic recovery process?
I always say that there is a fantastic opportunity for Turkey over the coming years to develop the industrial sector. I mean, you look at the capacity of the country in terms of education, in terms of infrastructure, and as President Erdogan has been insisting, this has the ability to become a logistic hub. We are going to be working with Turkey over the coming year with the middle corridor, with the corridor towards Europe crossing the Bosphorus, with the development corridor to Iraq. This is part of what we are trying to basically help develop the logistic hubs. In terms of growth, what we are expecting is that the country will continue having growth next year at about 2.5%. I think that taking into account the efforts that are being made to bring down inflation, this is quite positive.
My last question is, what do you think about Turkey's economic program currently being implemented to fight with the inflation?
I think I am already on record saying that what the economic team started doing in June of 2023 is extremely positive. I think that there have been significant progress on many fronts. Inflation is coming down, international reserves are going up, growth is still positive even when you bring all this together. And I think that markets are reading that very positively. You look at the credit default swaps that basically measures the risk of the country, and it has come down from around 600 basis points last year to below 300 basis points this year. And on top of that, all the credit rating agencies are taking now the credit rating up. You look at that, it's positive. I know that the efforts to bring down inflation is creating some pain, and I think that it's important that we work all together to try to look at the sectors that are feeling that pain a little bit more to try to mitigate that pain.
Thank you so much for joining us and answering questions.
Thank you.